Hi Wellness Warriors, I'm Melissa with Mental Muscle Wellness, and today I have another hack about sneakers. Just like our previous videos on this topic, I have a blog post all about this, and again, it goes into much more detail than I'm going to, so I will link it in the description box below. Today I'd like to talk about finding the right sneaker for your workout. Most of us do not train like an athlete. In other words, most of us are not runners and running very high mileage, or most of us are not true strength trainers, power lifters, if you will, and going into the gym and lifting very heavy, very intense amounts of weight. And that makes it a little bit more confusing for us to find sneakers. It's also a little bit more confusing if you're not involved in a particular sport, something like basketball or soccer. They have very specific shoes that meet the needs and the demands of those sports available for them. But again, if you're an average exerciser, if you're just getting started, if you're doing many different things when you work out or when you go to the gym, it makes it a little bit more challenging to find the right shoe for the type of workout that you're doing. My general rule of thumb is to think about what types of motion or what direction you're moving in when you do the majority of your exercise. If the majority of your exercise is forward motion, so things like walking or running are very obvious, but if you bike a lot, or if you happen to go to the gym and spend a lot of time on the cardio equipment, where again you're simulating that straight line motion, a walking or a running shoe will serve your purposes just fine, if that's the majority of what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of exercises or a lot of different types of activity that involve side to side motion, so if you're doing cardio but you tend to prefer taking group exercise classes where you're moving in a side to side or lateral motion, you're going to need different sneakers than something that's just built for forward type motion. Same thing, if you're dabbling in a lot of different kinds of things, if you do a little bit of cardio, a little bit of strength training, and a little bit of different types of all of those things, you're going to want a sneaker that is going to support your foot both in the forward motion and in the lateral or the side to side motion patterns that you could be creating across any one of your given workouts. So, how do you know what shoe you're buying? Well, obviously, if you're buying on the internet, Amazon probably tells you up in the little tag. But if you're standing in a sporting goods store and you're looking at the wall of shoes that's in front of you, I have a really simple test that you can do with any pair of sneakers that you pick up that will help you figure it out. So, pick up a pair of sneakers, and you're going to hold it exactly like I'm holding this pair. One hand on the heel of the shoe and one hand on the toe of the shoe. And the first thing you're going to try and do is fold the shoe in half. So in other words, I'm going to try and bring my hand on the toe up and over towards my hand on the heel. And ideally what you want to see is exactly what we see out of this sneaker right here. You want to see that the shoe only folds where your foot is naturally going to bend. So right at the ball of your foot, our foot is naturally meant to flex there. And that's the only place you want the sneaker to bend. If you see it bend anywhere else, put that one back on the shelf, okay? That one's not a shoe that's going to be supportive of your foot in any way, shape, or form. But as long as you pass that test, you're on the right track. The second test that you're going to do, you're going to keep your hands in the same position. I'm going to rotate this shoe so that you guys can see hopefully what I'm doing here. But you're going to attempt to twist the shoe. Okay, so in other words, you're going to rotate the hand on the toe and the hand on the heel in opposite directions. And you're going to watch what happens on the laces or the upper portion of the shoe. Okay? So what you can hopefully see as I'm twisting this shoe around is that there's a lot of motion that happens in this particular shoe right here. And that's because this shoe is a running shoe. So this shoe is built primarily with forward motion in mind, and it means that the upper portion right here is very soft and very flexible. In a running shoe, you want the shoe to be light, so you don't want any additional weight here, But in a running shoe like this, that's meant to be on the treadmill or that's meant to be like on a sidewalk or a road somewhere, you're not anticipating doing a lot of lateral motions, and particularly lateral motions that are unexpected. You're meant to go forward in a straight line. So the shoe is built to support that. Again, this is a shoe that will serve walking, running. If you tend to bike a lot, again, if you do cardio machines or any group exercise class where the motion is largely forward, a shoe like this will serve your purpose just fine. Again, if, however, you're doing a lot of different things, you're going to want different things from the test that you do on the shoe. So again, different shoe, we're going to do the same 2 tests. Hand on the heel, hand on the toe. You're going to fold together. And again, this shoe folds only at the ball of your foot. So this is a shoe that minimally for forward motion will serve your purposes just fine. I'm going to turn this to the side again, and we're going to do the twist test. And hopefully you guys can see it on camera. I'm really trying to crank this shoe around, and there's not much motion happening up here at the laces. And that's because this shoe is a training shoe, or specifically a trail running shoe, but it's built to support lateral motion. Okay, you'll notice that the upper right here is much less squishy, much harder for me to deform with my fingers. It's because there are structures built right here that are meant to help with that lateral or side to side motion. And again, if you're doing a lot of different types of activity, that's really important to look for in a shoe. You want a shoe that will support your foot 360 degrees all the way around. So I hope you found this hack helpful, and until next time, be well, friends.